Hey, I'm Steve. Wow. That's just... What is that? A breed-on?
It's
gross.
It's a breed-on.
It's. This is my it's voice.
What is it, Steve?
It's January 6th, 2016, and this is Idle Thumbs number 244. I'm Steve Gaynor.
I'm Chris Remo.
And I'm Nick Breckon.
And I weirdly just launched an Idle Thumbs podcast for the first time in my life.
You did
because Jake's not here,
man,
so there's nobody else to its. Yeah.
Wow. You never did one? I guess
I don't think I ever its did.
Have you ever been on a podcast without Jake?
The readers will know better than me. I don't think so.
It's been a long time since you were on Idle Thumbs. Who are you?
We forgot.
Oh, sorry. You thought a stranger wandered into your office. Who the fuck?
He can its it really good for a stranger.
He's been psyching himself up for this for 8 years.
Well, it's for food.
Long-time listener, first-time guest. I love it the way you guys its. So I just thought... No, I'm Steve. I used to be on the podcast I was on the site when it was just a text site, like all of you guys, and then on the early podcasts and stuff. And I worked with Chris at Irrational for the time that we were both in Boston, and then he came back to the West Coast, and so did I, and I shipped Gone Home at our small indie studio up in Portland, the Fulbright company, and now we're just Fulbright, and we're working on Tacoma, which is coming out later this year. And I love to cast pods about games. How's it going, guys? It has been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. I haven't seen you in almost a year.
It's cool to... Thanks for doing a podcast, because I get to feel like I've hung out with you in the intervening time, even though I haven't seen you for like a year. It seems like you guys have been doing good.
Oh, you mean by listening to the podcast?
By listening to the podcast, yeah. I'm like, hey, it's my buds.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm in town. I'm in San Francisco to do some promotion stuff for Gone Home, because it's coming out on consoles next week. So that's cool. That's finally going to happen.
That's awesome.
But aside from that, I just want to talk about video games.
Nice.
You guys been playing anything weird or good? I watched a weird... I didn't play a weird game, but I watched a weird game being played.
Okay.
There's this... So you guys know Deadly Premonition, which is basically like... Oh, you know it. Uh-huh. But aside from the very good whistle soundtrack... It's basically like Twin Peaks inspired, kind of like open world-ish small town simulator mystery game from Japan. Very weird. And so everybody kind of, I think, knows that as this cult hit. But there was this PS1 game by the company that made the Clock Tower games originally, that's called Mizzurna Falls. Mizzurna Falls. And the crazy. So it came out in 1998 on PlayStation 1, Japan only. It was never localized. And weirdly, it's pretty much Deadly Premonition, except less self-consciously wacky. It just plays it more straight. But it's like they aren't even trying to hide it. It's just straight up like pretty much the plot of Twin Peaks.
Wow.
But you play as a high school boy who wakes up on Christmas morning, weirdly, in Mizzurna Falls, Michigan, Ohio. Maybe they don't actually call out the state, I forget. But in this small town of Mizzurna Falls, and he hears that his friend, popular teenage girl at the school, is missing, and then it becomes this murder investigation. But it's like, it has all of the features of Deadly Premonition in terms of like, they built this entire town. It has a day-night cycle. People have like their... schedules, so they like go to work during the day and go home at night. Wow. And you have a car that you drive around the whole town, and you can just like go to the diner, and it's like, oh, it's closed, it opened, people are coming to eat at the diner in the morning, I can talk to them, they say weird shit, and you just have to go through the things.
So I mean, this game was also probably contemporary of like Shenmue.
It was pre-Shenmue. Shenmue was 2001.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because this was a PS1 game. It was the last game, I guess, that the company that had made Clock Tower made, and then they went out of business.
Man, this company made pretty much entirely sports and athletic games, and also Clock Tower, and then this, and then they died.
So yes, amazing legacy. But yeah, so like I mentioned,
They're also the name of the company was Human Corporation.
okay, there we go. It was because it reminded me of From Software because they both just have like that's not a good name.
Human Corporation is not a bad name.
Human
Steve.
Corporation is an extremely good name. Sorry, I misspoke.
They're putting down their allegiances.
ahead of the
for the coming future, the coming war.
Right, the robots are not going to get in with these guys.
No.
or will
They're
they?
living.
That's when it really becomes a problem.
Oh,
You can't distinguish from the human corporation in reality.
Human
Right.
Corporation.
I think the Human Corporation protests a bit too much. The definitely not robots company. So yeah, this game never came out in the States. It was never localized. But I had heard about it off and on, and fairly recently, a young woman who is a professional localizer who lives in Japan just discovered the game and started translating it. And so there's this full-length set of YouTube videos of her just playing through it and live translating all the text as she reads it on screen.
Jeez,
and she'd never
amazing.
played it before, so it's a blind playthrough of her.
Yeah.
And so I just have watched maybe like half of that at this point, but it's amazing because she's like playing with a walkthrough because apparently it's really easy to like miss an event and just have your playthrough be fucked.
Oof, yeah.
So she's like showing all the things in the game that make it completable and just like reading it to you, interpreting it as she plays, and it's fucking cool. So you can probably search, Mizzurna Falls English playthrough on YouTube. Her username is Resident Evie, EEVEE. But I found it really interesting. It's cool, and it is really weird because like it's from the late 90s, so it's pretty much like it's practically contemporary with Twin Peaks. Like Twin Peaks must have finished airing, and then they started making this game immediately. Right, because Twin Peaks aired in,
No,
what,
Twin Peaks was
94?
early-
Or finished?
early 90s, yeah.
Oh, was it like 90 to 92 or something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But regardless, it was like 5-6 years after
Right.
the show was on the air. So, like, it's very authentically 90s. It's supposed to take place in contemporary times, but it was being built in 1996, whatever. So, like, all the technology and how stuff works is just on point. It's really cool. So, check it out. Check out the playthrough. Hopefully, maybe someday somebody will, like, hack the ROM to actually translate the text in a patch or whatever. But that's been the weird old Japanese PS1 game I've been watching someone else play on YouTube.
How about you, Nick?
So I didn't play any Japanese games, but I played a lot of PS1 stuff because I went home for Christmas and discovered my PS1 in a closet.
Crazy.
And pulled out my box of games. And the thing I discovered was a few games that I owned, I guess, but never really had played much, or at least thought were just sort of, I don't know, too high level for me at the time, I guess. Like, I must have purchased Bushido Blade at some point, but I'd never really played it for real. So I brought it home and played it with my girlfriend,
So you
Janelle.
played what, the American-made Bushido Blade?
Yeah,
You didn't play the Japanese games.
That's a Japanese game.
Well, yeah, it's fair enough, but it's,
no
it's
offense.
not. It feels like a really like indie Japanese game in a strange way. It feels very stripped down.
It is super focused, yeah.
Yeah.
You were playing Bushido Blade 1, not 2? Okay.
Yeah, one. I'd never really given this game a shot, and I played it. I for the first time played it with two people. This is a really good game. This is I mean, and I am shocked having played it now that there is no like spiritual successor to this game. Really, like
Wait,
I went
so-
clawing for one.
I feel the same way, yeah.
Yeah,
All I know about Bushido Blade is that it's a fighting game.
right.
Oh,
so
man.
yeah.
You
don't
would
know-
like Bushido
really?
You would like Bushido
a lot.
Blade. It feels contemporary. It feels like an indie game that could be made today.
You mean like in the style
And-
of sort of modern, stripped down,
It's like sports
multiplayer
friends.
combat?
It's
Yeah.
sports friends sort of a thing where it's just two fighters on opposite sides of just an enormous map, but the speed that you move at is completely different to any other fighting game. It's much more realistic in the sense that you are like an actual person who would edge forward,
Right.
very slowly,
Like
but
a
then
Souls game or something, kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of like a Souls game, but except that it's a realistic damage model, so one hit can kill you, which is crazy.
Yeah.
because it just changes the whole way that you play a game like this.
yeah. I mean, that's why I think that you would like it, Chris, because it's like
It's not about like 10 chain combos and stuff.
Right.
It's about the tension of the moment, right? It's almost like a samurai film where it's like gunslingers staring at each other, across a field.
Yeah.
And then somebody makes a move and just 1,000 things happen and then the round is over because somebody's dead. And like weird, wacky things can happen because you can get injured. And so somebody can like have their foot cut and they're just sort of like crawling around on the ground.
But you can still swing your sword.
But you can still swing your sword.
So you can still win even if you've got your leg cut out from under you.
Right. So they just become this like weird wounded animal that you're just now trying to figure out like, what am I going to do? There are like really other strange moments too that can happen where like you can climb up a cliff and suddenly you have the high ground, which matters a lot when one hit can kill somebody. So the other person's on the bottom of the cliff, and you're just sort of staring at each other, just kind of waiting for the next person to make the move. Like there's just all these little like really interesting moments that happen in any given round of this game. Yeah. It's crazy. There are like 7 or 8 different weapons, and they all just play entirely differently to each other. And then each character,
in the first game, you can still mix and match character versus weapon, right?
Oh yeah, is that not the case in the sequel?
No, it is. Sorry, I was trying to think if that was only in
yeah.
the sequel. I think Bushido Blade 1 is the better game because it's more focused, but it means that you can pick a character that's big and slow and strong, or the character that's small and weak and fast. But then you can give them like the wrong weapon. So you can take the little fast character and give them like the giant 2-handed sword, and they just swing it really slow and bad. Or you can be like the huge guy and he just has like the little dagger and you can't get in close with it. Like it's really interesting in that sense.
Yeah.
I think I feel like you would like it because I feel like it matches your sensibility that the game feels like it's actually trying to be about what a sword
what it purports
battle
to be
like this would be about, which is just like stare each other down, try to read each other's moves. If you're not paying attention, you just get hit in the gut with a sword. Yeah, you're dead. You don't like lose some hit points. You just lost the round. And there's like other weird crazy stuff.
Yeah,
like you can throw your sword.
Yeah, you can kick dirt in somebody's face, which is really good.
But like the game being called Bushido Blade, like it actually has the concept of like being an honorable fighter in it. So obviously like throwing your sword or kicking sand in someone's eyes is not honorable. Also, if you have been injured, like the honorable thing to do would be to give up and just let the other person kill you. So if you press the select button, you just get down on your knees and give up, and then the other person can just walk up and one hit you. Man. Because it's a player choice to be like, I have been dishonored. I'm going to give up. And it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Also, in the options, you can turn on black and white mode, like Sam and Max Hit the Road, to make it more like an old, like
samurai
40s,
film,
50s samurai film. Or
There's
whatever,
also a crazy. I don't think I actually realized this the first time I played it. There's a crazy first-person mode in the menu.
Yep.
Which is really weird because they just put the camera. They basically just hid the torso of the character model, slapped the camera right between the shoulder blades, and then you just have these weird like PS1 arms that are sticking out of you, and the whole game can be played in first person.
That's crazy.
I mean, you can't do 2-player, but it's
that
still
must be impossible.
It's nuts. Yeah, it's pretty hard.
I mean, this game was released by Square. Like this was like a big, legit big release.
I remember
at the
it
time.
existing. I was so that wasn't the sort of the world that I was aware of.
I'm
really
just amazed by what a weird, like you said, like there are so many decisions that feel like what an indie game made today would make. Like, let's just throw in first person mode. You should be able to give up, just like, and they're just like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to sell millions of copies of this.
The funny thing about that to me is that it does sound like a marriage of two different contemporary concepts that you don't usually see in the same game. One of which is the attempt to model a high level of reality across a bunch of different inputs or systems or sort of character attributes or whatever. And then the other is the ultra stripped down, ultra focused, sort of throw assumptions about the genre out the window, modern local multiplayer game. And usually the former of those two exists in games that are structurally much more ambitious, like the current crop of survival, first-person survival games, or a big open world game or something. It's really, I can't think of a lot of examples of games that that attempt to model a high level, a lot of different kind of systems and attributes on the personal scale, while not broadening the structural side of things beyond like two people on a screen. And that's really interesting. That's a really weird combination, and it is very enticing.
Yeah, I wonder if Bushido Blade's actually available
I was gonna
on
ask.
like PS4 download or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's a really cool game, and I mean, like you said, it is really shocking to me.
Yeah,
Because the closest the closest things that I can think of that are trying to do something similar are Samurai Gun, which is like a one-hit game that's kind of about this, but it's like a super fast-paced 2D vertical thing, so it's like not the same thing, but like it's clearly influenced by it.
Yep.
And then Teddy Diefenbach was working on that game Kyoto Wild for a while, and I think he's kind of focusing on Hyperlight Drifter at this point, but like that was he called out that was like Bushido Blade, inspired, but it's still not the same. It wasn't just somebody needs to just be
Somebody
like
needs to make a straight up
we're just making more Bushido Blade now.
Yeah,
I'd buy it.
yeah, I would too.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any way to play this currently
it's
without
nice.
tracking down.
It was one of those games that like got a bunch of like PlayStation greatest hits releases and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, sure,
so
yeah.
you can find a
There's
disc
probably
of
copies
this
of it.
easily.
Yeah,
and if you have a PS2 lying around, you can throw your or
How far?
PS3.
How far did
also,
that
but
backwards compatibility go?
I don't think it's on PS4. I think you can't put in a PS1 disc into your
I think
PS4.
I think
but you could
even
on PS3.
Didn't they stop shipping systems that had that compatibility?
That was only PS2. All of them go
really?
backwards. All of them do software emulation of PS1 discs.
Oh, interesting.
Only the first shipment,
The 60 gig or whatever.
had the hardware for PS2, and then they
I see.
stopped.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Interesting.
so
That's
yeah.
crazy, man. I can't talk about this really because Jake's not here. I was hoping he was here. I was bummed when he didn't show up. Jake, by the way, didn't show up because his cat is like barfing a lot or something. So he's dealing with that. Every week we have
I know
a
every
reason
week,
Jake-
and now it's just sort of like
Jake fucking cut his Christmas tree or whatever the hell it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jake cat is
Hey,
Jake cut his Christmas tree was what you just said.
what I mean.
Guys, I hurt my Christmas tree. I think I have to take it to the doctor.
anyway.
Jake's cat ate his homework.
You guys talking about one component of this game, which is sort of honor and sort of the ethics of, Bushido or whatever, reminded me of Bridge, which Jake and I and our partners taught ourselves this past weekend and played a combined total of probably about 15 hours of.
Oh my God! Sorry, it took me that entire time to realize
thought
you
it
were
was a
talking
game.
about the card game Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
I was
It took
like,
me 10 seconds.
I was like, is there a video game called Bridge? It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
no.
bridge built. Oh
Sorry.
wait,
A bridge too far.
No, the game that old people play.
right? Okay, yes.
And,
We taught ourselves cribbage.
yep. I also learned how to play gin this weekend. So
Which is good.
Okay, so you were playing the. I still don't think I even know really how Bridge works. It's like a 2
I didn't
versus
know
2
a single thing about it.
co-op.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
what
is a-
genre would you
it is-
say?
It is a team game. Yeah, it is 2-on-2, and there are a bunch of different ways to score it.
It's
Every single
TDM.
one of which is like the most complicated shit you've ever seen in your entire life. But one of the things that I kept seeing mentioned when we were sort of searching for how to play Bridge and sort of guides to Bridge on the internet is how much they emphasized like the ethics of it. It's like
Oh, man. Yeah.
if you pass in the bidding phase, it is ethical only to say pass. You should not say I'm gonna pass or I think I'll pass on this. This is unethical and should not be
Unethical?
Yeah, there's all of these like things that are sort of the
In what sense?
I don't know. I couldn't really figure out.
Are they implying that you're like that it's mind games with your opponent, so you're
See, that
like
was
fucking
the
with
thing-
them or
That was the
something?
thing that occurred to me, right? Like because when you're playing, this is true of any card game really that has hidden information, which is most of them. It's really easy to sort of it comes to your turn to do whatever, and you can't do it, and you're like and then instead of you being cryptic, you've given information away, and that sucks for your teammate in this
Yeah.
game, for instance.
Or
So-
I was thinking more like you're bluffing, and that's not
That-
ethical because it's
That
like
too, yeah.
mean to
Right.
your
Yeah, who knows?
opponent or
I
something.
don't know, but it
know.
really cracked me up. That they, I think it even said I pass was considered unethical. It was
right.
it was hilarious. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much more about Bridge because I want to talk about it with Jake because we played it. Actually, I played both against Jake and with Jake. Fucking spoiler alert. Our partners were way better at this game than we were. So that was like...
Well, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for when Jake gets back, but who are you playing against?
Oh, Jake and I were. Oh, sorry. When I say our partners, I mean our like life partners.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought calling the other team in a bridge game was just like
I don't know what
partners.
collective noun to use.
The ethically way.
Because I'm engaged, and so saying girlfriends sounds weird.
Right,
like, it's just,
yeah.
I don't. You know what I mean?
Right.
So whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, you sure got owned if you like went to a bridge club or something.
Although we did look those up, and those exist, and they basically all play like at noon, which is impossible for people with jobs.
Right.
So
Tea time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I do want to talk about that next week because it was really interesting from a game design perspective. One, because it's an incredibly fascinating game design, but also because it's obviously a very different kind of game design than we are accustomed to. Anyway, next week. But yes.
Assuming nothing else happens to Jake's cat or Christmas tree.
Guys, I thought I got rid of my Christmas tree, but it was back in my apartment. It fucked me up.
I need to call an exorcist. I'm sorry. Yeah. What else has been played? Or like, I don't know, weird game news stuff either. Has there been any weird stuff?
I don't know.
The Oculus is going to be pre-orderable like tomorrow or next week or
crazy.
something.
Have you used VR stuff much, Steve?
Not hardly at all. I mean, a little bit. Actually, I guess the most recent time at most recent GDC, I used whatever version of Oculus was that was available then at like the Oculus demo booth. I mean, with their demo, it was certainly high res and like track position crazily and everything. It seemed like the thing that I played, maybe not. No, I guess it's not. I was gonna. They put you in a little like soundproofed room so that it's like a whatever because you're on a loud show floor and everything. But I don't think it was like room based at all. I think it was just like still just the helmet. But I haven't really like that demo was just kind of a like hang out and look at things while they move around you demo. I haven't hardly really played anything in VR that had like goals or like that you could really do stuff in. What about you guys?
Not really. Not a long time.
Yeah.
Not since the
For some reason, I feel
one.
like you would like it.
Yeah. Really?
In the specifically because from people that I know who have used it a fair amount, I've heard that like Elite Dangerous is the like VR seller
killer app
because it's simulating you sitting in a chair at a control console.
That's the one application that actually excites me, I have to say.
Yeah. And so from what I've heard, just being in the cockpit and looking around as you're flying around is awesome. And I know that you like space flying
sitting
games.
in those cockpits.
Yeah. So the thing that is attractive to me about that is that it is providing it's providing additional utility and like I think because of that potentially additional sort of immersiveness or whatever you want to call it,
right?
Because the model that the thing is using the model that the technology is using actually maps to the fictional experience of the game, which is that your head is looking around a space that is fixed relative to your body, which is fixed because you in the real world are not going to be like running around unless you're using the Vive room thing, but that feels like a sub use
That seems
case.
like a crazy thing. Yeah.
Meanwhile, like your actual ship or car or whatever, like is going at crazy speeds that you could not achieve as a person, and so that you're controlling with a controller, which makes sense because you're abstracting the larger movement that's going on, and so that stuff really makes sense to me.
Yeah.
The stuff that I've never not felt weird about is being a person in the world and looking around at this thing, and then becoming hyper aware of all of my mobile limitations and sort of interactive limitations.
Is there a VR cockpit mech game?
There clearly is going to be.
Oh yeah. No, that game Hawken was like a super early
really liked
VR
Hawken.
thing. But
I didn't play it in VR, but I really liked that game.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. My own personal bent is I would prefer like a mech warrior paced feel, like where it's just like slow and plotting and there's single player.
I'd buy that,
because Hawken was cool. It was just super deathmatchy. You just got owned all the time and whatnot. So like I just kind of want to hang out in my mech.
Yeah, I understand that. I was really won over by how that game looked, which is not necessarily in a multiplayer game actually what's the most important, but I liked how willing they were to just put crazy shit in front of you that obscured your perfect sort of view of the scene in a way that felt really fictionally convincing and it just looked. I just thought it was.
No, I
felt
agree.
really cool to play.
It felt and looked awesome for what they were going for. I thought it was really cool. But anyway,
man, did you guys see the New York Times Magazine? What are you already?
Are you about to talk about Henry Kissinger?
No, but, but that is amazing, and I'm happy to talk about that. No, but
what were you actually going to say? Then we can talk about Henry Kissinger.
Remember, like a month ago, the New York Times Magazine shipped one of those cardboard VR things
Google
with
Cardboard?
their magazine delivery.
Yeah, I got one of those recently, actually.
Did you use it? Did you play the flying away?
Well, I didn't get that one. I got the Star Wars one, which was like a thing that you, for like an hour you could just get a free Google Cardboard. So I had them send it to me, and I'd never used one before. It's like surprisingly effective, but there's almost nothing you can use it with right now.
Why would that be limited to an hour?
Well, because they just sold out. They just ran out of stuff. Like they just gave them away for free, and you could just sign up for like a Star Wars Google Cardboard.
It's a fucking cereal box.
Yeah, I know.
They can make more.
Yeah, you would think.
All right, whatever.
Man, there was one called Taking Flight, I think. Let me see. Yeah, Take Flight.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, it was so fucking weird and dumb. It was you put it on and you're in a city street and you're looking around and you're like, oh wow, this is cool. And then it just sort of starts taking you up into the air. And I'm like, oh, this is not nearly as cool. Because it gets so, the thing it's not very high resolution if you're using it on your phone in this way. And then also, the city is not rendered to like an extremely high degree of fidelity. And so it's way cooler when you're in the middle of it and you're just seeing all the shapes. And then you go into the air and you're just kind of in sky. And then there's just celebrities floating everywhere. There's like,
Whoa.
Yeah, there's like Michael Fassbender.
Oh no, this is the New York Times. Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I saw this.
Benicio del Toro and like Melissa McCarthy are just sort of floating in the air in these very artsy poses.
No, I saw this without the VR, which was even less impressive.
And I didn't have headphones or anything, so I don't know if there was audio and if there was like
it's just music
to this. Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're not even saying anything?
No.
It was the strangest. It was
it's really weird.
It felt like watching the art project of a high schooler who inexplicably had access to every famous person in the world.
No, there's another one.
It was really strange.
There's another one just like that, but it's sort of like a New York Times like video feature. It's like 6 minutes long, and it was about I don't even remember the topic, but it was just sort of like an on the street thing where they're talking to some artist in New York City, and you're just in VR. And you can just look around at all the people who are just like on the street.
Yeah.
And so like the whole VR like experience is just looking at some construction worker who's just like doing a thing. And and then like occasionally he'll like look at the camera. So it's like he's looking at you. And then you just have this weird moment, you know?
I mean, that sounds way cooler.
Yeah, I would rather have that.
I mean, it was just like, okay.
I mean, it sort of sounds like a video version of like Google Street View.
Yeah, kind of. Huh. Yeah. And which also exists. There's a Google Cardboard like Street View thing where you can just kind of look around at stuff, which is
where you can remote control a Google Maps car,
a driverless Google Maps car. Yeah. You can just see somebody walking by and just be like, track them. Have you guys ever? So something interesting about. We were talking about video games, right? Something interesting about Google Maps is they keep cache of each time that they've done a pass through an area.
Version history of their entire world.
Yeah, and I mean, you can do this right now. You can go on Google Maps. Because it's like when you go on Google Maps, you go to a place, you go to Street View, and in the corner it just says when the image was taken, and it's a pull down. And so you can just click back.
I've never tried that.
Yeah, so like not too long. So the earliest time they did it in Portland was 2007, and then there was another one in like 2012 or something, and then one last year, or I guess now 2014.
You mean like a full sweep?
Yeah, of like most of the areas. Right. And so like it's crazy because you can just do like a time travel tour of your neighborhood and just be like, I'm going to click back to 8 years ago and just drive around my street and that house wasn't there before and that building got turned down and that used to be a different shop and like whatever.
Man,
and it's
in
really
places
cool.
like San Francisco, that's really interesting because there's been, the city's changing so much.
Yep. Same in Portland, honestly, especially in some of the neighborhoods that like really got, developed a lot over the last however many 5-10 years. So that, I don't know, that's an interesting. And so additionally, there are some places, I'm sure here and also in Portland, where there are buildings that if you're on Google Street View, you can go inside the building. Like they took a camera in
they have that,
and did the thing. And so you can do that with the time lapse too. So you can like go inside of the shop that used to be in that building if they have photos of both of the businesses. Anyway, it's like a weird, it's not a game thing, but it's like a weird interactive exploration thing where you're just like, oh, this is what it was. I forgot that was there or whatever. It's cool if you live in a city where they've done multiple passes and so forth.
Yeah.
But
weird.
Anyway, yeah. I'm sure like New York and, Boston, San Francisco, Seattle are all, interesting things to drive around in the past, basically.
Yeah, that's great.
You want to take a break?
We should probably take that break.
Sure.
Video game.
Video game. This episode of Idle Thumbs is brought to you by Zombies Run Virtual Race, an app that you can use to help get motivated to train up running. As you run, zombies try to own you in your ears. There are training missions, and there's sort of the actual virtual race where you're competing with other people, trying to post your best time.
I have trouble having motivation to do exercise, so I don't do it.
Me too.
And B, I know a friend of mine who had the same condition of not being able to motivate themselves easily to do exercise. And she used this app and was just this was like, whatever, months ago, she was using this and just telling me about it. And it's like this like narrative based experience of like, now you're trying to get to this checkpoint, now there's zombies behind you, and it motivates you to do like faster sprints over more time and all that kind of stuff. And if you're the kind of person that can get wrapped up in an experience like that and kind of get into it, I think that for a lot of people that's probably a much better motivator than just like putting on a good workout mix, and trying to beat your best time or something. And if you're good at downloading apps already and you want to run, endorsed.
If you go to zombiesvirtualrace.com and use the promo code IDLETHUMBS, and please use lowercase idle thumbs, all lowercase, you will get $5 off. But, weird fact, I used this and got $10 off. So I think you just get $10 off if you use it right now. Do that soon before it changes to 5. I think it's supposed to be 5. I don't know what's going on.
Thumbs listeners are extra lucky.
Yeah, if you go to zombiesvirtualrace.com and use the promo code IDLETHUMBS, all lowercase, if you are trying to get in shape and have a fun way to motivate yourself to run, use the promo code IDLETHUMBS, all lowercase, and get, I guess, twice as much off as you're supposed to.
Woo!
Yeah. Zombiesvirtualrace.com. Thanks, Zombies Run. Video game. This episode of Idle Thumbs is also brought to you by Casper, American-made mattresses at a shockingly fair price. They're very comfortable. I know that multiple of us on Idle Thumbs either own or have slept on Casper mattresses. I don't know about you guys.
I covet a Casper. I'm planning to buy one as soon as it is feasible.
Well, Nick, if you want to transform that coveting into reality, you can do that by going to casper.com/thumbs and using the code thumbs. That will get you $50 off any mattress.
Nice.
Yeah. These are very comfortable. They do spring out of a crazy box when they arrive. Since the last time we read a Casper ad, we have gotten emails from readers who have commented that they were surprised to find that it does, in fact, explode out of a box like we said. I think someone thought we were exaggerating. We are not. That's what happens. And it's hilarious. And then you have a good mattress.
There's probably like YouTubes of it.
There probably are, but I wouldn't find them. I wouldn't spoil
Casper
it. I wouldn't
unboxing
I wouldn't find that unboxing video. I would unbox it yourself.
I would probably get it, have someone else come over to help. I would lie down right next to the box and then have them open it so it went all over me when it came out.
That sounds good.
You only get one chance.
You can expedite that experience, Steve, by going to casper.com/thumbs and using the code thumbs, and then you'll be $50 closer to your weird experience that you want to have.
If you buy a Casper mattress, lie down next to the box, have somebody else open it so the mattress springs out all over you, record it and put it on YouTube, and then I'll watch that video.
If you do that, please send it to questions@idlethumbs.net, and I will watch it, and then I'll send it to Steve.
Cool.
I'll invite someone over to watch it,
Right.
and then put a mattress
To take a
on them.
video of you watching as someone else hits play on the YouTube.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah. Thanks, Casper. Casper.com/thumbs and the promo code thumbs. Video game. And we're back.
Oh.
And we don't have to be.
No, I think we are.
The back took you by surprise, I see.
It did, and I liked it, weirdly.
I am enthusiastic to come back because we learned a fact during the break, which is that the Oculus Rift is actually going to cost what?
$600.
$599 US dollars.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is so much money. I mean, I guess
this is confirmed by
surprised.
me seeing people tweet that while we were on break. So I'm not like the expert on this, but I'm seeing a lot of people.
I think you saw it on Twitter, so I think you are the expert.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people
I think
tweeting
that's how that works.
that it's $600.
Yeah. It's yes.
So
it was definitely.
If I'm
announced.
wrong, I'm wrong. But somebody says
No, it's. I think they officially announced it.
Okay.
And, it's.
$600 pre-order for just the headset without the
It comes with a
motion
case
controllers.
and
But I don't think it has the
No.
weird hand controllers
right. I think
for
those
that
are
price.
extra. Those are extra.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's real.
yep.
VR is expensive.
It's a platform.
Ooh.
Or something. Yeah.
I mean, I guess
It's a lot of money.
I mean, pardon me. It's the first rev of a hardware platform, like you
Yeah.
said. I mean, I was just maybe in retrospect, this was because they announced the price, but I saw someone tweeting about how like when the first like Kindle Fire or something came out, it was like $400.
The
and now
first
it's like,
iPhone, I think, was $600.
Yeah.
I think it was something like that.
And so I don't know, like early adopters get to pay a premium. It turns out, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a serious amount to want to put tiny
it
screens
also-
on your eyes.
It also seems to need a fairly beefy PC.
Oh yeah,
That's the-
definitely.
yeah.
Hooey. Hooey
Yeah.
baby.
It is also confirmed $599 US dollars.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Classic price.
Right.
Classic sticker shock video game consumer electronics price point.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
think
it's just-
anybody in this room is real excited about about VR. So I guess we're not the
I guess
target
there's
market
not,
for
I guess
people
there's not
wanting
really a lot
to.
of point talking about it much more. I was just surprised by that. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. Although,
you think-
if you
like,
back
I
to the
don't even-
Kickstarter for if you got a development kit via the Kickstarter, you get one of these for free.
Which is cool.
So that's cool. That's a cool thing that they're doing.
because a lot of people definitely have that DK1. I never even thought about it. What did people think it was going to cost? Or what
I think
would
people
you
were
guess?
hoping like 400.
Yeah,
I was
guess
thinking 400
I kind
as
of
well.
in
Yeah.
my brain just assumed it would be $300 or $400. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought as well.
Yeah.
But
I don't know
I guess
how
if
much
only
I don't
because
know how
anything
much
that's
this
ever
shit
been
costs.
priced $600 has been the thing that people complain about. Like everything, like the 3DO and like the console you're referencing. Yeah.
Man, guys, by the way, this is the first Idle Thumbs recorded post year of the PS3.
It's true.
Oh, so that means the full potential has been completely unlocked.
We must have, at some point in the last year, observed the full potential of the PS3 being harnessed.
It was when they released Yakuza 5 in the US like last month on PS3 only.
Oh, really?
Weirdly, perhaps.
All right.
Huh.
I read about because I've been a fan of the Yakuza
you
series.
love
Speaking
it.
of old Japanese games, since the first one came out, I think that was in like 2007 or something. I kind of fell off the wagon. They made a lot of those. Like, there's a lot of Yakuza out there now, and they're all pretty samey. But Yakuza 5 had been released in Japan like 3 years ago or something, and then they were like, "Hey, we're bringing it to the U.S." And I don't know. I saw Austin Walker
years
playing
late.
it on Giant Bomb or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, cool. All right. Well, I'll go on my PS4 and download it." And they're like, "Oh, no. It's PS3 only." I'm like, "Okay, okay."
They got to use the full potential.
Yeah. No, I don't. I
Did you play it? Have you played it?
no. I don't have a PS3 hooked up anymore. Like, I don't know. But I guess the next one really is going to come. Yeah. It seemed to me like it was the closest to my favorite one, which was Yakuza 2, which is basically just like a lot of really low fidelity, just kind of weird side quests that just didn't have a lot of like overhead to them. That's the impression I got from Yakuza 5. It was sort of like, we're not taking this super seriously. It's just a bunch of weird stuff. Go ahead and beat dudes up and play it. But no, I haven't actually tried it. But they had to get that out before the end of 2015. Yeah, because they would have missed the year of the PS3 otherwise.
Obviously. It's weird that a game that was developed in 2012 was able to harness the full power of the PS3 in 2015, but I guess
only the English localized version harnesses the true power of the PS3. That's why it took them so long to release it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No, when like you were saying, like when the iPhone came out, it was like $600. But
everyone bought one?
But wasn't that also like subsidized by AT&T or whatever? Like hardly anyone actually probably paid $599 US.
Probably true
for it. They paid like $100, $200 plus
I think.
Plus a subscription contract.
Yeah.
So I mean, unless there's some way to subsidize the price of an Oculus Rift headset.
Yeah, I bought the first iPhone like day one, I think. Oh, and I remember standing in line at like a movie or something, which is what you used to do. And, like
I did that. I did that for the Star Wars.
Oh, all right. And then, people would just like come up and like look over my shoulder as I was just using my phone. And then people would just like, can I touch it? Like there was this like weird like thing. I feel like the trick with this thing is going to be just like getting it into like the public realm, because I just don't, it's like the opposite device of what you would want to be like, if you're going to price it at $600, like how do you
with me the time when we were in Dear Mom, the bar, and there was wearing the Oculus Rift, and he just like looked around and looked at us.
Yeah, we were in a bar in San Francisco, and he was just staring straight at us with his cyber helmet, and we're just like, whoa, oh, that's really creepy. But like,
it's so weird.
Yeah,
because he couldn't see us at all.
Yeah, and you would never go up and ask that guy, can I try it? Like, because he would just like stare at you like a weird like Star Wars character.
You were more like, could that guy leave, please? Could you not?
And that's what Kylo Ren's helmet.
Yeah, exactly.
He's playing
that's what it feels
Star
like
Online.
That's what that guy would play.
Yeah.
I just feel like
they should have made sure these shipped like the week before Star Wars came out, so that there could have been guys waiting in line for Star Wars, with their big tower PC next to them with an Oculus on, just while they're waiting in line. People would be like,
"Man, when I also stood in line to see Star
what are you
Wars
cosplaying as?"
Yeah, and there were two different guys at the Star Wars line that I was in that each had different full-sized operational R2-D2s. They had different color schemes, so one of them was probably a different one that isn't R2-D2, but it's I guess I'm not sure, but they both were like little robots that wheeled around on their own power and like turned and beeped and stuff. And it was crazy. And you could just put a computer inside one of those things and then have your Oculus Rift that looks like Luke's weird blast helmet.
Oh yeah, the blast helmet. Oh man, yeah.
And you would just look like a weird guy, and you're playing Phantasy Star Online. Hopefully Oculus gets on this Phantasy Star Online port. That for some reason in my brain exists.
That's a killer app.
Yeah, it's good.
I think Phantasy Star Online came out for something recently. I think that's why you're thinking about it.
It's not. That's not the reason.
I think it did.
I mean, I believe you that it coincidentally did.
You're just thinking about Phantasy Star Online unrelated to that all the time.
It's just because it seemed like something Kylo Ren would probably play.
I don't disagree with you at all.
It's not a knock on the game.
No, and it's not a knock on Kylo Ren.
No, it's not.
It's world building. Phantasy Star Online is canon in the Star Wars universe.
That's true. Man, okay. If you guys want to see something interesting, speaking of Star Wars, just go to Bigger Luke.
Oh man! Oh my God! What? So you linked this last night on Twitter.
Yeah,
and I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, for
a long time.
Go to biggerluke.wiki.com. And just read about this interesting theory about how in the original Star Wars film, there are two Luke Skywalkers, one of which is normal sized and one of which is like an inch taller. That is Bigger Luke. and read about all the theories why this may be the case, whether it's a in fiction, actual force related thing, whether it's a meta joke involving Mark Hamill and also someone who looks almost exactly like Mark Hamill but is 1 inch taller. It's very interesting.
According to that page, the most popular theory amongst fans is that there is a canon
second,
Luke and a bigger Luke, who
and
is
the number
sometimes
of sub
there.
theories about that, whether R2D2 like cloned him or whether it's he's growing himself with the Force. There are many sub theories about in that broader theory. So
I was introduced
Bigger
to
Luke.
some what is it, expanded universe, extended
Yes.
universe, expanded universe.
Well, now it's the Legacy universe or something.
There's the universe and there's the bigger universe.
right. Yeah.
There's Luke and expanded Luke.
right.
I've been introduced to some expanded universe. Apparently, there's Luke Skywalker. There's Luke Skywalker
Yes,
with two
the
U's,
two U's.
and then there's Luke Skywalker with 3 U's.
Oh man, I didn't know.
And in the expanded universe, they are all actually clones of Luke Skywalker
Well, maybe that's
with an extra
maybe that's
U for
evidence to
each time
support
they're cloned.
Bigger Luke.
Bigger
canon
Luke is
theory.
probably Luke with 2 U's. And there's that
popping
one,
it
and then
out.
there's biggest Luke that's only in one shot, and that's Luke with 3 U's.
Well, there's
obviously.
there's like a more fringe theory that involves smaller Luke.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
So
Anyway.
bigger Luke is actually canon Luke,
Right.
and smaller Luke is
I think in this theory,
It's
I
like
think
Solid Snake and Liquid Snake. It's like just
Right.
like
punished Luke.
yeah.
this is great.
Yeah.
Yep.
People love listening to
Content.
us.
All right, you played a Rainbow Six game.
I did, yeah.
Man.
Have you played Rainbow Six Siege? Either of you guys?
I haven't. I played the original games a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Rainbow Six Siege came out last year, and around the holiday, they did a free weekend through Uplay only.
Oh man,
Not a Steam free weekend.
classic play.
And additionally, it was a referral only, Uplay only free weekend. So somebody that owned it had to generate you a code and then give it to you. So you, whatever. I'm not sure exactly but I went to the extent of getting somebody that I knew who owned it. No, I just asked on Twitter if anybody had an extra code. And somebody gave me one very graciously. And I played the free weekend. And so, like, the thing that I understood about Rainbow Six Siege, like, I thought it looked pretty cool because it's like a squad-based, like, team versus team game, and it's all about kind of relatively small environments and a lot of, like, environment destructibility. So, like, you have, like, shape charges, and you can just blow holes in walls and ceilings and to make entry points or to, like, get the drop on an enemy who's has it back to you, is guarding the door, and then you blow out the wall behind them, etc. And it has like a little like remote controlled wheelie camera thing that you can like wheel around to like go into rooms and like scout them ahead of time, know where guys are and stuff. So what I mostly knew about it was that it was like I thought, in fact, that it was like a multiplayer only game.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, free weekend, I'll try it. It seems cool. And so you can't play multiplayer, I think, until you've done some number of situations, which are like single player training levels. And so by doing that, I was like, this is like a full on like AI hunt, like game mode. Like there's a version of this game that's just like you, either solo or co-op buddies, and there's a bunch of enemies stationed around this map, and you either go clear them out or you like rescue a hostage or whatever. So I was like, that's cool. So I got past however many of the training situations I needed to do, and it unlocked Terrorist Hunt, which is like the classic, like either solo or co-op, just like you versus computer mode. And I started playing it, and I was like, this is fucking cool. Like, I never really played the original Rainbow Six games very much, but I played a shit ton of SWAT 4, the Irrational game that came out between System Shock 2 and BioShock, along with Freedom Force and everything, which was also had multiplayer, but I played it as like a single player squad based, like lead your squad against all the enemy AI. And Rainbow Six Siege solo Terrorist Hunt feels like the closest to that of anything that I've played. Plus, it has all the really cool environment destructibility and stuff, and additional tools. Something I liked about SWAT 4 was I played the game totally non-violently, non-lethal.
Yeah.
So I like incapacitated and arrested everybody, and that was like a cool extra challenge. Rainbow Six Siege is just like waste everybody. There are no less lethal methods of attack whatsoever. But that said, for what it is, it has just like really good game feel. Like it's just like really well tuned movement and weapon tuning and all that kind of stuff, and also crazy like rappelling. So you on any wall that's like flat enough and that is like an enterable building, you can just throw your grappling hook up to the top of it, and then you can go up and down the rope, side to side on the wall, and you can also flip your stance so that you're hanging upside down. So you can turn upside down, go like above a window, and then like lower yourself down, so you're just like aiming over the top of the window inside and seeing the guys upside down and just like lay into them and then bust in through the window, like swing in, like you turn back right side up and then swing in. So, you know, like the downsides are that since I play it basically just exclusively as a single player game, they treat it like it's a multiplayer game. Like you have to be online to play it even single player, and they treat it like you're doing
Uplay.
Yeah, they treat it like you're doing an online round. They're like, here's a countdown to like vote on the next map, and you're like, dude, I'm just like I'm hanging out. I don't know.
I'm gonna win the vote.
And for a while, I found it really annoying because like it's not all of the modes are really tuned for single player. Or are even really fun for single player. There's a couple that are like defend the hostage mode or whatever, and just like dudes swarm in on you, and you're like, I'm just one guy. This isn't really why I'm playing this game. And so like the worst thing about it in terms of playability is that when you're doing solo terrorist hunt, it's just a random map and mode. Like you don't get to choose because it's supposed to be just like pick up and play multiplayer or whatever. So for a while I was like, okay, I only want to play just like take out all the AI or hostage rescue. I don't want to play any other things. And so I would just start one up and it would be one of the other modes. And I'd be like, fuck. And I would just back out and re-roll it. And it was shitty. And it took me a long time. And then I finally discovered you can go into the options and there are terrorist hunt options, and you can flag game modes as like enabled or disabled. So after a while I was like, oh, I can just turn off the modes I don't want. I'll always get a mode I want. I'm happy with any of the maps. I'm just going to roll it. And it was like, the thing that's cool is it's really challenging, especially single player. Like it's not easy. And I could feel myself getting a lot better at it as I played. And it was something that I like, which is I was both getting better at just like controlling the game and playing the game, but I was also getting better because I was learning how the AI behaves. So I became better at predicting, you know, like, okay, if I do this, the guys are going to hear it. So I need to like hunker down over here and I won't get surprised, you know, or like whatever. And so I became, you know, in a way it's sort of cheesy because you're just like decoding how the AI is like programmed to behave. But on the other hand, it's really satisfying to be like, okay, I'm going to set a trap for these guys because I know if I do this, they're going to react in this way, and I just mow them down. Or whatever. That was
always the fun for me of playing single player Rainbow Six. Was just like, I mean, let me ask you, like, is there a mode where the map and sort of where the enemies are placed is fixed, or is it always sort of like random enemy placement and random kind of
if you play those situations,
they're all
those are all fixed,
cool.
Because they're basically built as single player levels, but it's always the same level, the same AI placement, but you have to. So one of the things about this is there's a bunch of specific operatives or operators or whatever that have specific like gadgets and stuff. So in the situations you have to play as one specific guy. When you're playing terrorist hunt, you like unlock operators and get to upgrade their weapons and like choose who you want to play as. But anyway,
but I like those situations, or at least, you know, that's basically what the game used to be, which is just like levels, you know, very set levels. But it became just like each room was its own little puzzle that you could approach from different angles. And it just kind of like in the same way that Hitman feels like a puzzle game to me. It's like, oh, how am I going to solve this puzzle? And then like you start it, and then all, you know, hell breaks loose and weird things happen that you didn't expect. But like just those little like self-contained things where you can sort of slowly kind of think about the way you're going to solve it and then go about it. I don't know. That's what I always liked about those games.
I do like the terrorist hunt mode that I've been playing in terms of it has that SWAT 4 kind of feeling, where SWAT 4 was very much defined by like the placement of enemies and hostages is always random, and you have to really like observe and scout ahead and figure out where everybody is because you can't predict it, and that's how terrorist hunt feels. But it's cool because I've been learning not just how to predict how the AI is going to move, but how to read levels too. Because like in hostage extraction specifically, you have to find the hostage, and they don't tell you where they are. You have to scout the level to find the hostage. And for a while, it's like, oh, you have to scrub so much level. Like, I can't find this hostage or whatever. And then after a while, I started to realize like the AI fortifies kind of where the hostage is in kind of specific ways. So I could start to scout and be like, oh, they've put down like really a lot of razor wire in this direction. I bet the hostage is like over here because this shit's protecting them, and then you can find them, and it's like, oh yeah, it is, and that kind of stuff is really satisfying
really cool.
as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
This is a much more sort of frivolous topic, I guess, on this related to games. This game, not just this game, but games like it. A thing that has been really crazy to see over the last several years has been that the fidelity of kind of movement and interaction in multiplayer, especially multiplayer first-person games, has gotten terrifyingly high. It is like, I've spent the last 2 years working on a game with a lot of first-person animation and a character who interacts with stuff in the world, and like every single thing ever doing that is like impossible, just totally impossible. And like, it's a miracle that, we're getting ready to ship this game, which is Firewatch, with all the stuff working as well as it does. And then I look at just like whatever the latest, multiplayer game, whether it's the new Rainbow Six or Call of Duty or Star Wars Battlefront or whatever. And there's like all these fucking people walking around, and like their heads are like subtly looking in a different, you can tell that they're doing different things with the first person camera than what the 3D model is actually represented as doing from other players' perspectives, to make it like much more blended and smooth and human. And the way that like characters interact with objects in the world, where from the player's standpoint, you're just going forward or just like mantling over something. But then as someone else watching them, you're seeing all the little interactions that are happening with the physics objects and with that character's movement and animation. And it's amazing. It's totally amazing. I like even little things like characters stumbling that from your perspective or from the player who is stumbling's perspective are one thing, but then from another player's perspective, they're rendered as this like really comical, awkward thing that's happening. It is amazing to me that is what multiplayer games look like now, because for so long multiplayer was just, you just take it for granted that everyone looks janky. Everyone is basically a floating cylinder with a animated character in the middle of it, like gliding around the world. And it just looks like garbage.
Just Quake 1 forever.
And that's just how it was for a long time. And like even games that were really accomplished in terms of physics in multiplayer, like Halo, for instance, which was a real standout in that regard. That stuff was still pretty mushy watching it from another player's perspective. Yeah. And it's just gotten incredible. God. It's just gotten amazing in the last few years.
This is somewhat unrelated, but I was watching the and I wanted to plug this anyway, but the Awesome Games Done Quick marathon is going on right now. And I was watching it yesterday, and this guy was speedrunning Half-Life 2, and oh man, I'd never seen a Half-Life 2 speedrun before. You have to watch this speedrun, because Half-Life 2, like every object is a physics object. Yeah. And so this guy is just like every cutscene, he just sits there and he was just like doing Rubik's Cube puzzles, because there's just nothing you can do to skip anything. But then the second he was done solving his Rubik's Cube, he would set it down, pick up just any physics object, and then just like force it into an NPC, which would then shove the NPC like 16 feet to the left. And then he was doing this crazy thing where like he would shove the object into himself, which would then like allow him to do these insane jumps. And then he would just like grab an object and stand on the object, and then just use it to sort of like hop up. And he would drop the object like as soon as he had jumped, he would drop the object, then grab it again, use it to then like jump up further, which would then allow him to just climb a wall using just basically just jumping on this object that he's just dropping below his feet over and over again.
So as soon as he drops it, it becomes something that's valid for him to jump off of, but then it stays within range for him to pick it up again. God, that's fucking crazy.
There was this like, I think they called it just like prop fudging is what he was calling it, where he would just
good,
like
strong,
would just like force these objects into himself that would then just propel him. And then there's this because they didn't want bunny hopping to be a thing in the Half-Life 2 engine, in I guess Source. Valve added a check to make sure that if you have like X velocity, it will just like sort of add or subtract velocity at a certain point, so such that, you know, if you're jumping forward. But what they didn't do is they didn't fix that for like, they didn't account for people like moving backwards. So half the time this guy is just crouching and just turning 180 and just like running through the level backwards, and you can get up to like 400 times movement speed doing that. And so that plus like grenade jumps means that he can just like the coast level, which is completely open, he skipped in like 30 seconds. He just like crouched, turned around, dropped a grenade, and then just like fired himself over the entire level. Like there's just insane stuff
amazing.
Because it's such a weird, fudgy, like physics-based game.
I think I saw a speedrun like that for Half-Life 1. Where when you just watch the video, it just looks like the camera in like free fly mode, just like zooming through levels impossibly fast.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sounds like you have to work a little harder to get to that point with Half-Life 2, but
yeah,
only to a point.
Oh man, just the object stuff was hilarious.
That sounds really good. I'm glad that Awesome Games Done Quick / Summer Games Done Quick is like a thing. It's
really
such a good spectator event.
I love it every year. It's the best. Or I guess every 6 months now.
Yeah. I watched a lot of it over the summer. I haven't watched any of it yet.
Yeah.
But like I remember, I think some of the ones that were the most enjoyable to me were the games that actually still take a long time, even if you're speedrunning them. Yeah. Like the people,
like there was Super Metroid or stuff like that. Yeah.
Super Metroid only, I think
that's like an hour, but yeah,
maybe I think it's even less. But the one I'm thinking of is one of the things they finished up with was like a team of people hot seated the entirety of Chrono Trigger.
Oh yeah, that was the finale.
Yeah. And it's like there was just something really satisfying about these people all knowing all the best ways to play Chrono Trigger as fast as possible, and it still takes like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Because they just know all these weird little things where it's just like, oh yeah, if you have this upgrade and this thing, and then you level
can just
up
barely squeak through on like 7 attacks,
right?
And if I had to do 8 attacks, you would die in this situation,
right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
seeing
the depth of knowledge, basically, I don't know. I generally just have a real soft spot for people who get obsessed with frivolous, relatively, just like things that are kind of pointless to be obsessed with, but just seeing people who are like, I'm so obsessed with this game that I literally know every single thing about how to play it in a way that no one ever intended you to. Look at this.
Man.
Hey, if you do all these 20 things in a row, you can save yourself a second in your speed run. It's like, what?
On that note,
good. I like you.
Yeah. On that note, the Metroid Prime run this year was also insane because the guy who was running that, like it just involves a lot of just like escaping the level tricks that were just bananas. Like just really weird stuff where he knew where the corner of the level box of like the volume was, and he would just have to exploit this particular thing to allow him to do all these weird moves. That and also just the Super Metroid run where 2 people playing one controller, which was insane.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, I'll stop talking about this crazy stuff. You should just all watch it, I guess.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's really good.
I think in the Summer Games Done Quick, wasn't there like a Dark Souls 2 run that was 2 guys on the same controller?
Yeah.
But Super
Metroid, they were wall jumping, and like they were like, sorry, we might talk a little bit just to, usually we know what we're thinking, but what each other's thinking, but we might talk just a little bit. And they never talked. Like they just they were just leaping up like all those insane chasms in that game and just like boom, boom, boom. Like they knew exactly what they were doing.
Think about having a friend like that.
Yeah, right. I know.
I can't imagine having any who in their life has somebody
spend 600 hours
that's
doing
like,
this weird,
let's hang out
thing.
together always, practicing this game together.
Yeah,
I'll be the left half of the controller. What? I mean, it's amazing. It's fucking cool.
No, it's really good.
No, I've been super into a lot of that stuff. It's really amazing to watch.
Yeah.
So sometimes in the middle of the night, like the weirdest ones are like, at least last year in the middle of the night, they would do ones that I think they called it silly games done quick.
Yeah, silly games done quick. Yeah.
And it's just, there are people who have decided, I'm going to figure out, like I watched somebody, I'm going to figure out how to speedrun this Hello Kitty game.
Right.
And they have the same level of crazy knowledge of how to like get past this boss in the optimal amount of time about some weird Japan only Hello Kitty game.
Yep.
And you're just like, who are these people? Why are they so amazing?
One of the best runs this year was this guy who just like destroyed the Lion King SNES game. And it was this guy, I think his name is like the Mexican Runner, and he was so funny.
I've never even seen that. I don't even, what is that game? I don't
It's
even know
just
what
a
that
weird platformer. It was in the era of where they were doing like vaguely Disney 2D.
Well, no,
sprites.
It was totally that was in the same era as like SNES Aladdin and stuff that had like really great. They were Capcom games and they had like really great graphics.
They collaborated, I think, with Disney on that stuff. But
so I think Lion King was one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was just crushing it and singing Hakuna Matata in Spanish. I mean, it was just like exactly what you want. But yeah, I love that stuff. It's really good.
I watched some of the Resident Evil 4 speedrun last year, and that had a lot of that stuff like you were talking about, like escaping the level stuff of just like, if you jump down on the edge of this ladder and hit the exact right pixel, you can fall behind the waterfall and skip half of the level, just like all that crazy shit where it's clearly just somebody was playing it so much that they found a bug.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, now we need to figure out how to do this bug. I mean, that's what a ton of speedrunning is. Oh, we found this one bug that either the developers didn't know about or wasn't worth fixing.
Yep.
And now the job is figuring out how to do that consistently.
Yep.
So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Especially like I've played Resident Evil 4 a lot, and so it's cool to see someone just like going to town on it since I'm additionally like familiar with all the content and so forth.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is that you realize how often you've played that game and never like experienced any of that stuff. Or like, just that's the thing I always think about. Like, if I was going to speedrun that game, like how long it would take just to find one of those tricks.
Yeah.
So it's just obviously like this weird crowdsourcing thing where they all watch each other's streams and like share tips and stuff. It's just like, wow, that is a lot of time.
GameFAQs message boards,
Yeah,
I
pretty
imagine,
much.
have been involved in a lot of like speedrun development culture.
Yeah.
You guys want to do some reader mail?
Go to Awesome Games Done Quick.
I do want to quickly mention this game that I played before Reader Mail.
Yeah.
It's called Spintires. Yes. So I knew nothing about this game. It was recommended to me.
About it. What is it?
It's Russian?
Yes. And I think it's developed by one guy, as far as I can tell.
Whoa. Seriously? It looks pretty high fidelity.
It's just the developer is listed, and I didn't do much research, but the developer is listed as Pavel Zagrabilnij.
Nailed it.
Clearly correct.
Yeah, Pavel Z, and published by OV. Anyway, I didn't know anything about this game, so I picked it up, and
the thing I know about it is it's about trucks, and it's been like the top seller on Steam a lot of
Has it
times.
really? Okay, yeah, I didn't even know that. And so this game is essentially, if you thought like Bus Simulator 2015 was too fast for you, like pick up Spintires, I guess.
Spintires is not a name that communicates slowness.
It's all one word.
It's
about your
tires.
Truck being stuck in mud.
Yeah,
so
it's
a very
amazing.
literal.
So you start out
It
in
just
this.
sounds like a freewheeling.
Right.
No. You start out in this garage in what seems like rural Russia, in the woods, and you're just in this huge truck, and you hit W to go forward, and you're immediately stuck in mud. And the mud is like Havoc simulated, so as you spin your tires, you actually dig your way through the mud. And one, I'll just like quickly sum up this game. One, the actual Havoc like physics simulation of this game is crazy, and it also is persistent. So as you go through, and the whole game, the whole goal is to just load up some logs and deliver them to like depots, and that's it. But what happens is, because
It's just you're just like driving across like the Russian wilderness.
Yeah, at about 4 miles an hour. Right. And so two things. One, this game is basically just like if you played Far Cry 2 and you got stuck in a lake or something and you thought that was hilarious.
Right.
That's just every moment of this game. You get stuck in the mud. You have like different attach points on your car that you can use to hook a winch to like the trees in the world.
So you're actually a guy that gets out of the truck and you have to walk over and attach it?
No.
You just,
It's just
point
automatic.
at a tree and attach
you just
it.
point it and it just sort of like throws a thing. And then you have to like winch yourself out of the mud. And then as you're like delivering logs and stuff, like you'll inevitably get stuck in a weird part of the level. and then have to like drive your other truck over to that truck and then like pull that thing out. It just becomes this like Dennis Nedry simulator where like you're just constantly like there's a day and night cycle. So like in the dark, you just hit a tree, you ruin your car, you have to like winch it out of a hole and then like do a thing. And it's just, the whole game is pointless. Like you're really doing nothing. You're just delivering logs.
But then you did it.
And like, that's the thing. It's actually really satisfying. It's a really good game.
We don't have any log deliverers listening to this podcast. You just called their life pointless.
Well, no. I mean, clearly there's a greater,
If you deliver logs for a living and
Yes.
you hate Nick Breckon, email questions@idlethumbs.net and tell him why your life is actually really important and great.
It actually, no, you know what? It gave me, it gave me a lot of respect for people who do anything like this for a living. No, it actually did. It actually did. I realized, like, looking at power, like, equipment or just, like, cat vehicles on the road, and you just see those guys just picking stuff up and they make it look easy because there's, like, a claw, a claw crane that you can have, that you can get in the game to sort of, like, pick up logs and stuff. And it looks really easy. Man, when you've got actually, like, all the control of, like, the claw thing and you've got to, like, load them perfectly in your bed and then, like, drive it through, like, a bunch of shit and, like, the weight of the vehicle wants to tip the whole thing over the second you make a single turn. Like, oh, man. Yeah. No, anybody who does that for a living is actually a lord.
Professionally move almost anything are generally lords.
Yeah. No, it's a pro skill. It's really good. Anyway.
Want to do reader mail?
Yeah. Clyde Bink writes, Herobrine. I saw my 9-year-old nephew during the holidays. Whenever I visit, he shows me what he's been building in Minecraft. He mentioned that he would like to have shown something to me that he made, but that Herobrine had destroyed it. I asked who Herobrine is. My nephew informed me that Herobrine is someone from Mojang who spawns into multiplayer survival games and destroys things, and causes glitches when everyone is logged off. My nephew has not seen him, but in a world he shares with a few friends, one person's house had been blown up, and everyone else's houses had TNT stacked in them. My nephew did not see this himself, but heard a report of it. There was also a diamond missing, though my nephew was not himself burglarized. According to my nephew, it was definitely Herobrine, because only Herobrine could go into their games when no one was logged on. As I was interrogating him on the subject, my nephew and niece were playing Pocket Edition together on separate devices. On my nephew's screen, we saw my niece's avatar, the textures partially loaded, quickly stuttering its position through an area of the sky. On her screen, she was firmly on the ground. My nephew said that he saw something similar before Herobrine appeared in the game he shares with friends. Twig on the Idle Thumbs forum suggested that my nephew is probably mispronouncing Herobrine.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Which has been a running joke / urban legend thing in the Minecraft community. So basically there is a glitch ghost myth in Minecraft which my nephew explains with which my nephew explains the unexplainable. Thanks for the podcast and the Idle forums, Clyde.
Yeah, that's really good, especially if you're like 9-year-olds. If you're just like,
oh yeah,
it's like, oh, I went in and blew up everybody's shit. Everybody's like, why is my shit blown up? Oh, I don't know. It must have been Herobrine. I was logged off. We were all logged off.
Yeah.
Yep. That's very good.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Also, it reminds me of like a modern version of the whole like, my uncle works at Nintendo and he said you can get Eris not to die. Like,
yep.
That's very good. I'm glad that it can still persist. That kind of urban legend can still persist,
for sure.
even in the internet age where everything's pretty much verifiable.
I think with stuff like this, where now kids all weirdly have simultaneous access to each other around the world all the time, that stuff probably only grows.
Yeah. Well, there's also,
and
I think,
Slender Man and all that shit.
I was just going to say Slender Man. I feel like there's an eagerness for that stuff still. You know what I mean? Where people will like willingly go along with it, even though you could probably look up the wiki and realize that the thing doesn't actually exist.
They have the ability to disprove it more easily than ever before, but also the ability to spread it.
Yeah,
than
I think people are prone to do the thing that makes it fun.
Well, here's another story about a kid of similar age. Sam Hearn writes, "Hey Thumbs, for Christmas this year, my 10-year-old sister, who loves to write, got a typewriter, and my younger brother in 7th grade got a PS4 and a copy of Star Wars Battlefront. Recently, I discovered that my younger sister...
Defining their life path forever.
Exactly.
Recently, I discovered that my younger sister has been watching him play and writing newspaper-style summaries of the rounds he plays.
Oh, no.
I couldn't find any complete examples, but I included an incomplete one below. Thanks, Sam H. from Austin, Texas. Sam, please find more of these. Please send them to us. First, he has like a scrap of one that I'll read that makes me want to read more of them. Here, let me see.
Did he like scan
It's
it?
it's a photograph
Okay.
of a typewritten page still in the typewriter. So not
Oh my god. That's the
heroes
perfect
versus villains. Darth Vader today has joined the fight, the Imperials against the rebel scum. The fight is in rounds. The scum win the first round. The villains the next. Again, the villains win. Darth Vader is doing well.
Oh man, I want somebody. I really want somebody to take that and put it in the Star Wars scrawl generator.
Oh yes! Oh yes!
The fight is in rounds.
Send that to questions.
Star Wars Episode 8.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Darth Vader is doing well.
Darth Vader's doing well. Oh my god. Yeah, actually,
That's
on that
perfect.
note, when I was home for Christmas, my mom gave me this diary that she'd written. I had no idea that she'd done this. She wrote this diary for 10 years of my upbringing, and she wrote entries and just recorded things that I was saying.
That is amazing.
And just like everything I got for Christmas that year, and just like everything. Like
How much of a jerk you were being, I assume?
Oh yeah. Oh man. And just like weird stuff where
I saw you tweet that, and I just want a full report.
it's like weird stuff that you realize like, oh man, that's the way I am. Like that, and like that's why I am the way I am. This specific moment in time.
Man, your mom did it right.
Like
This
what?
Oh, dude. I mean, it's right here, but I didn't
one.
transcribe. Well, I mean, there's one that's just here. This is a good one for thumbs. I'll just pull it out. And
I'm going to want more of these next week.
Yeah, next week.
FYI.
Next week I'll do a real one. But there's one in here. You know what? I don't know if I can find it right now, but she's just like, the thing you're saying all the time lately is pretty good. I guess you're picking up all my sayings and all my mannerisms. I was like, oh my god, oh no! I was 3 years old when she wrote that.
Oh my god!
Like, all right.
Oh my God.
Oh, there's stuff that's even better, like way better than that. But like, that's just one example for people who know that I say that phrase all the time.
All of this. I need every.
Yeah, I might just do a Tumblr or something at some point.
Yeah.
But like it's because it's crazy.
Just
I want exclusive reveals first.
Yeah, no, we'll do we'll do
like.
like the WikiLeaks, like New York Times
Yeah.
condensed version.
But
next
just
week.
go
Like,
through the whole thing with just your cell phone camera,
Yeah.
and just put the images up on Tumblr.
Yeah.
You don't need to just transcribe them. Make it easy. I'll read your mom's handwriting. I don't give a fuck. God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
And I mean, specifically for it to be Nick Breckon of all people.
Yeah.
That's who you want to see the evidence of why they are the way they are.
Anyway.
Your mom
Man, I can't
is
believe
a lord.
Yeah,
Yeah, my mom was clearly a more
That was
notable
amazing.
person
Your mom,
than I am.
your mom is fucking
Like,
out. She took that whole diary down, and now she's like a
Yeah.
hardcore gamer.
Yeah,
she just plays
she's
PS4 all the time.
definitely,
Like,
I failed completely because I think my mom is actually a better person than I am, like verifiably. She wanted me to be so good. You could just like all of her entries are just like, God, I hope you're like this, and I'm just
no, this is getting better and worse.
oh no,
Which makes it better.
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right.
NickBreckonsMom.tumblr.com coming soon. No one take that URL. Nick, go take that URL now.
Here's the last email that if we're going to read one more email, it's got to be this one because we
Let's
have
do
to
it.
read it before we get too far into the year. So Johnny Driggs writes in, and before I read his email, I need to remind you all that Johnny Driggs is our amazing community member who every single week not transcribes it, every single week annotates each episode on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/idlevideos. And so that channel has a complete archive of all Idle Thumbs episodes to date. Usually it gets updated within a few days of the most recent episode with timestamps breaking down the entire episode by discussion. It's really, really fucking pro. It's really good. He's got also just sort of funny commentary running in text on the YouTube video as you're watching it. It's an amazing service that he provides for the Idle Thumbs community, and it's at youtube.com/idlevideos. So thanks, Johnny Driggs. We don't thank that guy enough.
He's fucking good.
Yeah, he's really good. Anyway, sort of unrelatedly, he writes, Dear Thumbs, in case anyone is disappointed that there was no GotY.cx this year, they should know that thanks to the efforts of Joel Schroyen and his wonderful Thumbs DB, such primitive means of determining the GotY are unnecessary. Presented for your consumption is the official Idle Thumbs Game of the Year by volume, compiled by measuring what games Idle Thumbs talked about most this year. It's guaranteed to be the most objective GotY of the year. So another plug for Joel Schroyen's Thumbs DB, which actually uses Johnny Driggs, I believe, annotations to determine topics discussed in each episode of Idle Thumbs. So it's a way to search for episodes that contain a given topic, or sort of filter by how often a given thing was discussed. It's really, really clever and really good. And
so how do you get to ThumbsDB to see the objective GotY.cx of 2015?
So it's in a GitHub repo. I'm seeing if there's an easy way to access it. I'm sure there is. I've been to it before. Well, so the URL is not the most friendly. Maybe there's a shortcut URL, but you can get there by going to karthik351.github.io/thumbsdb. Again, that is... Man, my phone is being a butt today. karthik351.github.io/thumbsdb. Anyway, so here, it's a really cool thing. Here is our 2015 GOTYs by time discussed according to ThumbsDB. By reading this, I am not applying my subjective endorsement to this list. No, because who knows?
Wait, can we guess?
Sure.
Having listened to it, I feel like Cities Skylines is going to be way up there.
Uh-huh.
What else? What do you think, Nick?
Oh man, I don't know.
There's some unsurprises and some surprises, for sure.
All right, go for it.
Yeah,
Number 10, Dota 2.
Okay.
That's got to be an early year.
I was going to say
thing.
That fell off.
Number 9, Rocket League.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Rocket League deserves to be in a lot of top 10 lists.
Yeah.
Number 8, Grand Theft Auto 5.
I was guessing that one because of the green-haired guy.
But green-haired guy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, Bloodborne. All right. Number 6, Downwell.
All right. Okay. Yeah,
that tracks.
Yes.
Yeah. Number 5, Fallout 4.
Okay.
Seems reasonable. Number 4, Cities Skylines.
Okay.
There you go.
I thought it would have been higher. Wow. Okay. What else we got?
Number 3, Super Mario Maker. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Once you see what's above
Jake's game.
Yeah.
Jake's pick.
Number 2, Fallout Shelter.
Oh, of course.
Yep. And number 1, Metal Gear Solid 5.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an interesting one because it was just a few episodes.
Yeah.
But it was like half of each of the episodes.
That's true.
I now feel disappointed that Fallout Shelter wasn't the official objective GOTY.
Yeah.
Now it's 2016. I was just going to say Fallout Shelter a whole lot. That's not going to help. Cool.
So he says, if we limit games to those that originally came out this year, Rocket League moves up to number 8, Life is Strange moves in to number 9, and Off-World Trading Company takes number 10. Huh. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's a cool...
But I mean, Off-World Trading Company, didn't that come out in early access in 2014?
I don't know how to judge those games.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It was a cool game.
Yeah. Love the game.
Cool. Well, thanks for listening to this week's episode of Idle Thumbs. This week's episode of Idle Thumbs has, in fact, been brought to you by Zombies Run. This is an app that makes it easy to get motivated for running through an immersive story that will continue from run to run and allow you to participate in a virtual race against thousands of other people worldwide. If you go to zombiesvirtualrace.com and use the coupon code IDLETHUMBS, all lowercase, you will get $5, but actually maybe $10 off your entry. That's zombiesvirtualrace.com with the promo code IDLETHUMBS, all lowercase.
Thanks for having me on, guys. It's been really good being back. I'm glad I could be here. And I'll look forward to listening to more EPs when I'm back in Portland.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider telling a friend or reviewing us on iTunes. These things help us out a whole lot. You can send us mail to be read or considered at questions@idlethumbs.net. You can follow us on Twitter @idlethumbs. And two things to note, I guess, one of which you hopefully know about by now, which is that we finally launched Idle Weekend, which is the new weekly podcast with Danielle Riendo and Rob Zachney, longtime Idle Thumbs network veterans. And that show is awesome. It ended up being a really unique take on a video game podcast, I think. It's very personal, has a really interesting perspective that I think really differentiates it from the sort of typical people sitting around talking about video games kind of vibe, although it also includes that. It's just a really great show. They've done 3 episodes so far. Most recently, they did their Game of the Year episode, which was very informal. You can find it at idleweekend.net.
Yeah, I've been listening to it since it started. It's just like a really thoughtful discussion between 2 people about what they've been playing. And also they talk about like movies and TV and stuff that they've been into. It's cool. It's good. Check it out.
For sure. In other new podcast news, we just days ago relaunched the Idle Book Club, which ran previously for about a year from 2012 to 2013. And we have brought it back. We released our first new episode, which is not about one specific book. It was just sort of a catch-up to get us back into the swing of things. It's a different lineup this time. I am doing the podcast with my fiancée, Sarah Argadale, who is a big reader. And we're part of the rationale for that as well. You know, we live together, so we can hopefully that will reduce some of the barriers that led to the other one being a bit of a challenge to keep maintaining for months and months and months. So if you go to idlethumbs.net and go to shows, you will find the Idle Book Club there. We have that catch-up episode out now, and our first real new episode will be about Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff. We're hoping to really expand the range of genres and types of books that we cover. That's a real goal of the show, and we're pretty excited about it. So if you didn't listen to it before, it's a monthly book club where we announce what we're reading a month in advance. You read it, send us your thoughts. We discuss it on the next episode. And people really dug it last time, and I'm hoping we can keep it going longer this time around. So you can also find that at idlebookclub.com. And thanks for putting up with all my housekeeping stuff right there. And thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Games.